Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Anything But Hold'em. We are here with the Sunday Razz this evening, playing our usual $1.10 Razz tournament on PokerStars. Looking around the table, I vaguely recognize First Ace Rimmer. I'm pretty sure I played with him before, but it's been a while. Otherwise, I don't recognize anybody at our table. I'll get our stream up and running here shortly. Just going to get the tables set up properly. All right, so let's grab that one. And boom, there we go. Grab our lobby. There's our lobby. And let's get our Twitch chat up on the screen as well. All right, I don't know why I always have this problem with my Twitch chat, probably because I have two Chrome windows open. I should remember to close that. There we go. Our Twitch chat is up and going. So we'll bring this down here. I'm going to fold the Ace King, I think. Alrighty, so it's good to see everybody back. It's been a pretty busy day. Played the weekly round 2 $2,000 guaranteed tournament at noon today. It was a no limit deuce to 7 single draw. Ended up min cashing in that for $1.10, which is very cool. I find free cash is always nice. As I like to say, hashtag infinite ROI. That actually ran into our regular weekly challenge tournament that ran at 3 p.m. this afternoon, which I was lucky enough to take down at the end for $5. It was a lot of fun. We had 10 people come in, and it was a good time. Our winner from last week, W2F Anthony, busted first this week, so he was at work and wasn't really concentrating as much as he could be on the game at hand. So it was good to have everybody out though, and it was great. Hopefully we will get more. The tournament has been renamed. It is now called Anything But Hold'em. Search for that in the PokerStars lobby, and you will find us. The tournament lobby, of course. King Queen 3. We get rid of that in a Razz deal. So look for that. Password is Elron66. We're back on next week with a no limit, a deuce to 7, a single draw. It's been a pretty slow start so far. Haven't really. I don't think we've played a hand yet. Haven't really been dealt a hand that we could play. This is a tournament that starts with 2,500 chip stacks. So far, we've got 17 people in. 18 actually. Somebody just registered. Reg is open for another 5 minutes. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get 20. I wouldn't expect too many more than that. I think there was 22 in the last time I played this last week. So maybe 23. So I think that this is probably a good thing. We're currently paying 3 places out. First is $9. Second is 540. A third is 360. That'll obviously change if we get more. This is obviously a hand that we want to play. We're going to put more chips in as well because it's a very strong hand. And getting stronger as we go. We're up here with the Leober. I'm not 100% certain that we're going to be better against him, so I'm just going to start calling here instead of raising still. Yeah, we just keep drawing one worse than... Well, now we're not anymore. I think we got to put money in now. We're in 76 and he's 85 at best. And we've got to... I think we got to go with our 76. Welcome everyone to stream. Glad to see you're here. Say hi in chat. Again, let me know who's out there. Still 18 people registered. 3 minutes to go and late reg. I have to have a look at this. It looks like one of our friends may have entered the... Our good friend Steve Opick from the Poker School Online home game is in this with us, so that'll be fun. He's in the chat with us as well, so that's awesome. Steve, good to see you. Hope you do well, buddy. I think with the king we can safely get out of here. So far it's been a pretty good day for us. Everything that we've tried has worked. The hands that we've gotten away from, of course, have been solid, and the one that we played, we got a decent pot on. Just looking at the rest of the list here. There's a couple of names I recognize other than Steve-O. 08_Katya. I'm sure I've played her in one of the last couple of Sunday Razzes that I streamed. Double Freak is somebody that I've definitely played before. I'm not entirely sure where, but I've definitely recognized the name. We're definitely in on an 8-4 deuce here. See what comes on the next one. Otherwise, though, I don't see many other familiar names. Except the 21 reg now, 22, just in at the wire. So 4 is getting paid out now. I think we're going to see 4th Street at least against this 3 and see what draws. I draw good, he draws bad. That's something we're going to continue, I think, here most of the time. The ace deuce over here is certainly interesting. So we're on an 8-7, 4-3 deuce. It's certainly possible for us to be behind Wong, and still so. And at this point, we might even be drawing dead, because if we're drawing to a 7, and he's already got a 6, then we're dead at this point. But I mean, I really think 87 versus a 7-6 showing. I probably can't call this profitably very often, frankly. Now that I'm looking at it at the end, yeah, I probably can't call this profitably very often with just an 8-7. Now with his 76 showing, I've got to assume that he's playing worse than what's showing, and that's not necessarily a good assumption. So that didn't go hugely well for us, but most of the other things we've tried have gone well for us. So this is the Sunday Razz. I didn't actually have a Sunday roast today. We ordered Chinese food instead, which is a much easier way to do it. But nonetheless, it's our Sunday Razz is named after the British tradition of Sunday roast. So we're serving up some nice heaping helpings of lowball here. No worries, Steve-O. Glad to have you around. Always good to have Captain Kirk in the house. So final tally for the tournament was 22 players. We're on 3 tables now. So $22 prize pool, obviously. 4 places being paid out now. $9.90 for first, $2.20 for fourth. So the first time I played this tournament 2 weeks ago, well, the first time I played it on stream 2 weeks ago, I cashed. I can't remember exactly. I don't think I won, but I definitely got deep on the final table and cashed. Then last week I didn't do nearly as well as that. I did not get to the cash, although I'm pretty sure I got to the final table. But again, like I say, it's usually 4 or 5 cashing on this one, so just getting to the final table ain't gonna cut it for you. This hand is turning out pretty badly for a Razz hand, but with only 75 in the pot, we can pretty happily and without too much worry get rid of the cards and move on to the next hand. So we are on a 3-minute delay for the record. Just in case people are wondering with Steve-O if Steve-O shows up at my table or something, we are on a 3-minute delay, so he will be getting information about my hands 3 minutes later listening in, but that's the way it goes. I'm certainly no great poker genius, so I don't think I'm giving away any secrets by doing this. I'm just a direct player who likes playing all the different games and wants to provide a place for people to be able to watch something other than No Limit Hold'em being played live. Live online, at least. I mean, I'm live. I'm not dead. I'm actually live here talking, so I suppose you could technically call it live. Live on delay. There's a 3-minute delay, but that's only to protect my hole card information, folks. There is no censor here, so anything that comes out of my mouth will eventually get broadcast 3 minutes later to the universe. I saw an interview with Joe Stapleton a while back on his gig as commentator with the EPT streams, and he said that the one thing that he really fears is that one day he's going to say something that simply cannot be unsaid. And I mean, you got to think it's going to happen one of these days with how he goes. He's obviously. I mean, I want to say up top, he is one of the giants of the poker broadcasting, and that whole EPT stream team is a dream stream team, really. I'm going to stop the rhyming right there because that's just going to get horrible if I continue that. But yeah, no, I mean they are far and away the best, the sort of gold standard of professional poker streaming out there for sure. And Joe Stapleton is a big reason why that's true. But that said, I totally understand where he's coming from. That there's going to be a time when something comes out of his mouth that cannot be unsaid. Fortunately, I'm in a position where when I say things that cannot be unsaid, it doesn't really make a huge hell of a lot of difference. So it's pretty cool that way. Burko, good to see you here. Good to see you back. Yeah, I love playing Razz. Uh, I love me some Razz. You're gonna find Razz at this time of night every Sunday, at least as many Sundays as I can manage to find the time, which for the next little while should be at most Sundays. So come on back next Sunday for the Sunday Razz. Well, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. If you're enjoying the streams when you're not playing, that is what we're after. I really do want to be able to provide a place where people can watch some of the less known forms of poker because it's all fun and it's all fascinating and it's all, to my mind, got different dynamics, different ways of having to think about the hands, and it's just a lot of fun to be able to switch things up, I find, instead of playing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Um, Now, I suppose it's possible that the reason that professionals play No Limit Hold'em and Pot Limit Omaha all the time is because the other games get to the point where you feel you've got them solved, I guess, and there's very little variety. And that's certainly true in a lot of the stud games, the sort of stud format games. The edge is very minimal where there is an edge, and it often comes down to the way the cards deal out. But there is definitely an edge to be had in the way you play the cards you're showing in many cases. So, especially I think in Razz, more so perhaps than in Stud. Stud, you can certainly do that with the flushes and the straights and things, four cards showing on the board. Um, Razz does provide a lot of opportunities, I think, to find spots to put pressure on people with hands that look good but aren't. Um, that said, you can certainly see where the edge is smaller than it would be in something like a No Limit Hold'em or a Pot Limit Omaha type situation, which is what most of the play seems to be. So I sort of understand why there's not a huge amount of play out there, but I love and I think that it should be more promoted because I think it's a fun way for people to get involved with poker in an environment that isn't necessarily super deep with talent and super aggressive like the no limit and pot limit varieties are. Yeah, it's not like we haven't played a few hands together, Steve-O. I'm pretty sure you're over the 2K mark in my HUD, so it won't tell me on this game obviously because it doesn't track stud games, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that just in No Limit Hold'em alone we've played over 2,000 hands against each other. So yeah, we played a few we played a few hands of poker against each other. I think everybody here is already a subscriber, but I always like to make a shout out for the follow button down below. So the little heart button there. I think Jason Somerville says it best when he says This machine runs on your love, so clicking that heart button just puts more quarters into the anything but hold'em machine here, so we can keep going longer and longer. These can be deceptively strong hands to continue with, depending on how the rest of the action in the hand goes. Especially in the early rounds when the amount that you're risking isn't all that much, and if you can get somebody trapped into a hand where they think they're best, you might get a pretty big pot out of it. That's not the ideal draw. We could potentially continue there still because we've drawn better than their queen. But yeah, I mean, he's got uh, I don't mind giving out a little information, especially in that form, because I mean, at the end of the day, yes, you're going to see on the stream here 3 minutes later if you're watching what I actually had. But when I say 6-2 down, I didn't necessarily have to have 6-2 down, even though in that case I was telling the truth. I certainly don't need to be telling the truth there all the time. So I'd much rather, if I'm going to give information out, I'd much rather give it out in that form than by actually showing live raw cards. I'm still trying to place where I played with Ace Rammer before. I recognize the picture and the handle. Um, and no, I'm not recognizing it from Red Dwarf, where it's obviously from. I mean, I recognize him as a Poker Stars player. 10-7-3. I think we get out of this hand with the rest of the way it's looking. We've already had one bust out. That's pretty impressive in a limit tournament that's only 23 minutes old to actually have somebody already busted. That's actually a pretty impressive feat for limit Razz. Usually takes a little bit longer than that to bust in a limit game, no matter how many hands you're losing. Yeah, this Sunday Razz thing is going to be one of the few regular scheduled broadcasts on anything but Hold'em. I haven't really found any other super good regular games that I want to jump into, but this one is something. It's a nice way to end the week off, and a little low ball poker on a Sunday night's a nice way to go for me. I think that's certainly worth putting some chips in with. And looking at the other hands, I think it's definitely worth coming in for a raise here. We're ahead of Wong now for sure. Right now, we don't really know what Camp Mutt's situation is. Given how much he's thinking about the hand, you can't really think that he's got a huge three behind. A huge hand behind the three there. So Wong's basically out of it at this point. If he's putting chips in, he's just donating to one of to one of us. It's going to be down between Mutt and myself, I think, in this hand. I'm really wondering what all the tanking is about with Mutt. We're definitely putting money into this pot. I think we can probably get Mutt off of the hand. I mean, we're obviously best right now, so he can draw out better than us, but we're on a 776 at the moment. So I think we're pretty happy putting chips in the pot. Um, he obviously didn't like the way he drew out, and I'd be curious to see what he had on his two down cards to start the hand with, because he really did seem hesitant going into 4th Street and going 4th to 5th Street. He really seemed hesitant in those betting rounds. So I tend to go pretty deep in this tournament. I tend to make the final table fairly often in this one. I don't cash nearly as often, but I tend to certainly get as far as the final table in it. If I have a poker specialty, I'd say it's probably the stud games, and specifically stud high-low and Razz would be the two um, that I would say are my best games. So I quite enjoy this this particular one. And I usually try to get involved in any of the special event stud high-low and Razz tournaments that come around as well. This is a pretty looking Razz start hand. We got a fair number of low cards out around us, so I don't think we're going to go super crazy with it until we see a few more streets come out. Um, it's interesting that the ace mutt folds with the ace up there. Yeah, we like that card a lot. The 76, we're ahead of everybody now for sure. Um, I can certainly see Rimmer trying to draw, depending on what his down cards are with the 5. Um, but we're still obviously ahead 76 to a 10-7. He's now a 7-5, so he could potentially be ahead of us now. I still think we're going to put money in. I don't think I don't think there's any reason for us to assume he's on a 7-5 or a. The raise. That's certainly what he's trying to make us believe. The fact that he sees our 76 could mean a couple of things. It could mean that he's got the 75 and he wants to extract value from us, or it could mean that he thinks or he knows that's what we're playing, and he's trying to bluff us off of it. I'm going to donate the chips here. I just want to see what he's playing. I want to see the 75. No, 76. So we're there. I don't really think I can profitably re-raise on that. Yeah, the king bring-ins kind of bite on this. At least if when you're playing high-low and you have to bring in with a deuce, you're at least potentially playing a good low hand. And even in stud high, just because I've got a deuce or a 3 doesn't mean that my low cards aren't. If I've got the deuce showing, doesn't mean my low cards aren't 3-4 and I'm playing into a straight, or it doesn't mean I'm not rolled up with deuces or things like that. So I mean, I could still potentially have a super strong hand when I bring in stud or stud 8. But in Razz, when you have to bring in with the king, it's pretty obvious that you've got a crap. You've got at least a third of your hand is crap. So it is definitely a disadvantage in that. It'd be I think it'd be kind of cool if there was a Razz variant that played a rotational style instead of a bring-in style, so that the like more of a blind bet style, the way that no limit hold'em or hold'em is played, rather than the sort of bring in and completion the way that stud is usually played, just to get away from that whole thing where the guy that brings in is always the weakest or usually the weakest hand. Because that does set up a dynamic at certain Razz tables, especially when it gets shorthanded, where it just goes bring in, raise, fold, bring in, raise, fold, bring in, raise, fold, and it just gets monotonous for ages like that because there's really no hands that anybody can play, and it's sort of obvious who's strongest and who's weakest, and it doesn't really go very far. So I think that's one of the things that makes Razz more difficult to play, is that it does get mind-numbingly boring in certain spots. So you have to be able to pace yourself. Just watching the 76 hand here. It's interesting to watch. I think he's definitely trying to make me get off the 76 when he raises me there on the 75. I don't really think he thinks he's right. Well, he might think he's well. He's got a 765, so he can't really be thinking he's raising for value. Although it's a good 765 that he's on at this point. Um, Nobody's super strong over here. A couple of people drawing fairly strong, but 54 here, 85 here, 65 here, but the rest of the hands aren't terribly. So it depends on how they drew out on 7th. Well, ace 2, 3, 4, 5 is a pretty good hand in Razz there, Steve-O. So that's one you definitely want to play, I think. Welcome everyone to the stream. Glad to see you here and watching. We are playing the $1.10 Razz that runs at 9:20 every evening on PokerStars. We do this most Sunday evenings at this time. Moku, thanks very much for the follow. Appreciate that, buddy. Nice to see you here. Feel free to say hi in chat. I am 3 minutes behind, so I will respond to your chat messages usually 3 minutes behind. I'm not right at the chat window easily with my keyboard, so it's hard for me to chat in real time. Don't like to give away hand information either in the real-time chat window, so. We can fold our Jack 4-5, I think. It's a pretty comfortable position to be in at this point. So we're coming up into the break now. Of the 22 that started, we got 19 left in here. As I said, there's 4 people paying. First prize is $9.90. Fourth place is $2.20, which is a double our $1.10 buy-in. So we're on a break now. I am going to flip off the mic and go and take care of my custodial duties. I'll be back. And I'm back here on Anything But Hold'em. Got a minute left in our Razz break. Going into sort of hour number 2. Of course, we didn't start until 9:20, so we've only played 40 minutes. So it's not really hour number 2, but we'll call it hour number 2 since there's no better way to talk about it. I think it's going to take a minute for everything to refresh here. Looking at the lobby, over here it says my position is 6 of 19, and over here it says my position is 7th. So I'm sure that it's just just a timing glitch in the refresh settings. I'm probably going to be 7th over here when we're done as well. So not in cashing position, but not too far off, and fairly comfortable with my position in the tournament at the moment with chips that I can do what I need to do with. When we were looking at the people in the tournament before, and I said that Steve-O and Rimmer were the guys that I recognized, with Katya being sort of somebody that I recognized, and I didn't see anybody else. Well, one of the late registrations, I guess, was Maymap, who we've talked about in previous streams, who is regular at this tournament. So he's a guy to watch out for in May.map. He's currently at the bottom of the chip stack at the moment, but that doesn't mean anything, and he could easily be back up at the top or in the middle and fighting for chips again. So. Of course, stud games are played 8-handed, so we're still on 3 tables now with 19 people left. We need to be down to 16 before we're down to 2 tables. So we're still split up with some people out on certain tables. Guess we're the one with the extra player. Nice, so there's going to be 1 7 and 2 6s at the moment for 19. So we're the 1 7. We don't really need to be thinking about getting involved there. Not against 2 aces for sure. If you haven't already followed my stream, click the little heart icon below the channel, please. This streaming machine runs on your love, and every click of the heart puts another quarter in the Anything But Hold'em stream machine. There, of course, is also the practical side benefit that if you're enjoying what you're seeing here, when you follow me, you will get notified of various things that I'm doing on Twitch, which will be all sorts of different types of poker games, but as the title suggests, it will largely be Anything But Hold'em. Now, I say largely because we've actually already broken the Anything But Hold'em rule by playing Hold'em here on Anything But Hold'em. And I'm pretty sure I broke that rule on the second day that I was streaming, frankly. Just because I knew I was going to break it eventually, so I figured I may as well crack it right off the bat, and then we don't have to worry about it actually being a hard and fast rule that, we can't play any Hold'em ever. So we do occasionally play Hold'em. Probably more likely to play the limit variety or a mixed Hold'em game like the no limit, fixed limit variety, or the no limit Hold'em PLO type mixed game variety. Those sorts of things are probably more likely, I think, than just a straight out no limit Hold'em tournament. But I've been running sats for the 1 billionth tournament next week. And if I get into that, I'm planning to stream that one from start till bust out, which almost certainly won't be in the money in my case. But, hey, it's always fun to dream, right? That's going to be an insane, 100,000 person tournament, I think, by the end of the... Well, no, it's 109. It might not be that big. It depends on how many tickets and how liberally they're giving the tickets away. But I think it's going to be a big day. Yeah, I really should have raised there. I don't know why I was hesitating on that. I really should have raised, and with the queen and the paired threes, I can't really credibly continue. If I had raised the ace to his 7, I might well get a fold there. Yeah, that was poorly played, I think, on my part. Steve-O sitting in 12th place. right now with 2,460 chips. So he's essentially got his start stack still. 2,500 start stack in this tournament. Our place is 8th at the moment, 31-35. Actually, we just dropped to 9th with Severanen pulling out in front of us. Going to bring in and fold almost certainly in this case. Wow. Steve-O, that's sick, man. Razz is definitely one of the most unfair games in the world, or feels like one of the most unfair games in the world, depending on which side of the deals you're on. And it really does depend on the way the cards come out a lot more strongly than other games. So you really can be at the mercy of the cards in many cases, no matter what you try to do. So it really is. It's a very the stud variants are all very unmerciful games that way. I think you can be perfectly reasonable in putting money in for 2 or 3 streets, suddenly to find yourself completely and utterly dominated in every form, and there was really nothing that you did wrong the whole way along. That's just it's going to happen every once in a while in stud variants. That's a pretty looking Razz hand. Deuce 3-5. Of course, we don't care that the 3 and the 5 are suited here in Razz. Razz is unlike a Deuce to 7. Your straights and flushes do not count against you, so best hand is 5-4 3 deuce ace, and if they're all one suit, that doesn't matter. So we're definitely calling through here. I mean, we've got very strong hands even against these showers. Obviously, nobody's drawn great. I think I need to see one more street at least, especially when I can close the betting here. I think I definitely need to see one more street and just see how I draw out. Pairing the deuces visibly means I'm out of this hand. I can't really credibly continue at this point with the king and paired deuce board flop. I can't even really credibly uh, represent anything at this point. Eravis, good to see you. It is going well. How is it going with you, buddy? Nice to see you here. We are playing, as you can see by the title, the Sunday Razz. It is a $1.10 tournament on PokerStars that starts at 9:20 Mountain Time, which was just about an hour ago now. We've been playing for just about an hour now. So yeah, doing great. This is our regular Sunday night hangout. Getting a chance to play some different kinds of poker. It's been a busy day streaming today. This is my third tournament that I streamed. I started off the day at noon, so 10 hours ago my time, with the weekly round 2,000 guaranteed Sunday tournament. This week it was no limit deuce to 7 single draw. Managed a min cash in that one for $1.10, so free money. That's always awesome. Hashtag infinite ROI. Always like getting money off a free roll. That actually bled into our weekly challenge tournament that we've been running here for Anything But Hold'em, where we're cycling through all the different games and playing, well, as our title suggests, playing Anything But Hold'em. Today it was a horse tournament, which I was lucky enough to take down at the end, so it was a lot of fun. And now, of course, we're here with the Sunday Razz, our regular Sunday evening, $1.10. Sundays are always going to be fairly busy for us. Pretty much always going to do the weekly round 2 as long as I have tickets for it. And our weekly challenge, I'm always going to stream from first cards to end, and I'm always going to do the Sunday Razz as much as I can. So Sundays are always going to be a pretty busy day of poker here at Anything But Hold'em. But they're going to be a busy day of poker that includes no Hold'em, typically. Where you at, Airviz? We were chilly as hell last week here on the prairies. I'm in Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada. We were chilly as hell last week, but it's actually been quite nice here before. Where I am, we have a wonderful phenomenon in the wintertime that it does get mind-numbingly cold at times, but because of our proximity to the mountains, we get something called a Chinook, which is a warm west wind that comes in over the mountains and is very dry and melts all of our snow and warms us up for a few days, and it's a very nice little respite from the mind-numbingly cold temperatures that we often get. But over the wintertime, it'll be a good time to stream some online poker because sitting in my nice, warm, cozy office while the snow piles up outside and it's minus 25 with a wind chill factor of minus 50 is always a much better idea than going out when the conditions are like that. So you'll probably see a lot of me over this winter, streaming poker from my nice, warm office. Fair number of Canadians in this tournament. Out of the 22 total entries, just counting up, 6 of 22 were Canadian. So fair number of Canadians in this one. Three Australians, I believe, including our friend Ace Rimmer. One person from the United Kingdom, not surprising. It is the middle of the night over there right now. It's like that's a dedicated Razz player when you're playing Razz at 3 o'clock in the morning. Lee the River is a dedicated Razz player playing Razz from the United Kingdom at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. Bring in fold, bring in fold, bring in fold. There are stretches of Razz that could be mind-numbingly boring. Lots of other people appear to want to be involved in this hand. I do not. I'm thinking Rimmer's probably going to get into the party. There's obviously a certain amount of pot odds that you're going to consider in this game when you've got marginal hands and things like that. But for the most part, whereas in a no limit hold'em game, I might call there because everybody else has called around and there's so much dead money in the pot, and I'm getting 1,000,000,000 to 1 odds kind of thing. So I might call with any 2 cards, just knowing that there's a chance that I can still win the pot. That's not really going to be the case when I'm playing a King Queen 9 in a Razz game. There's really no odds that you can give me that makes a King Queen 9 a strong playable Razz hand against the other ones that I was seeing on the board there. So putting the money in, no matter what odds I'm getting, is just burning those chips in a Razz game. So where pot odds, where you have to think a lot about the pot odds and the odds of your hand and so on hitting in a like a no limit and a pot limit game of Hold'em and Omaha and stuff like that. Here, it's a completely different situation. You know how strong you are and how strong you're going to be at the end of the day. I mean, I'm sitting king queen nine. There's no way I make a hand better than a nine at the end of 7 cards. It's just not, the math just doesn't work for you to make anything better than a nine if you're sitting with a king queen nine. So obviously you need to remember that your odds here when you're looking at a hand like that, it doesn't matter what odds you're getting out of the pot. You're not getting good enough odds to be calling through with hands that are always going to be behind when you get to 7th Street. I should probably preface all my advice with the fact that I do not consider myself an expert in any of these games. I am absolutely a recreational player. It's not like I make a fortune playing poker or anything by that stretch of the imagination. I am a micro stakes grinder that just really enjoys the game and enjoys the various formats and the sort of mental battle of the game. So take my advice with that grain of salt in mind. Um, it's advice from a recreational player who enjoys the game and thinks about it. It's not advice from a pro who's got a defined track record of winning lots of money with his strategy. So there you go. Take my advice for what it is. Just a guy with a headset rambling as he plays poker. That's pretty much what you're getting here, folks, on Anything But Hold'em. Set rambling as he plays poker. But I'm not sure you could call somebody like Jason Somerville anything different than just a guy with a headset rambling while he plays poker. Now, granted, he's won a few more tournaments than I have. But at the end of the day, it's all what you do with it's all what you do with your headset. I just watched the Somerville stream. I'm gonna have to jump onto him tomorrow. He says he's gonna start playing tournaments and he's gonna play one until he either can't stream any longer or he wins one. And I'm really curious to see that because the man is totally inhuman from what I've seen. I've seen him go 5 or 6 hours on stream without taking a bathroom break, without having a drink of anything, without having a bite of any food, without leaving, literally without moving his face from in front of the camera for like 5 or 6 hours. Um, so I'm kind of curious actually at what point he just sort of falls over and collapses from exhaustion or lack of food or lack of water or something along those lines because it's going to be fascinating to watch tomorrow. Anyways, I hate to say it this way, but I'm hoping he doesn't win one early because I want to see how long he can go. Of course, I always like to see him win, but um, it'd definitely be fun to see how long he can go without a bathroom break. It's been a pretty uneventful few hands, few orbits here. So there isn't really a concept of an orbit in stud games. I think we'll let Wong take this one down. I might have taken it if I'd raised, but I think playing the 3, he's probably going to get involved. Steve-O's right underneath of me in the standings right now. I'm 12th, he's 13th. So we're both still grinding it out. I'm going to throw this in for a raise. I know the queen is obviously a bad card. I'm sort of ignoring the queen and considering myself playing a 5-deuce 2 card at the moment. And thinking also that the raise is going to get people to fold out, some stronger hands like 8s and 7s. We're definitely obviously raising this one. Having raised the last hand makes it more likely that people will play with us here. We've obviously got a super strong hand to start with here, and we're pretty happy putting chips in the middle with it, especially against an 8. The king obviously bites, but we're going to go through for one more street because we're so strong below. We don't really need to put money in here because we know, and he knows we're behind. So let's see what comes up here. See, no, we paired, but king, queen. Yeah, see, we know we're ahead now, so we're going to throw money in this pot. We know we're ahead. He's not sure, but we know we're ahead. We know we're farther ahead now. 9-7-4 deuce ace. So I think we're definitely happy to put. He's got to be playing his 8 as his highest card for us to be behind in this pot. So basically his king and his queen both have to be his 2 highest cards, and there can't be anything else higher than an 8. Now, when he raises, I obviously don't think I can cap the betting here, but I also can't fold at this point, so I got to see what he's playing. We are on a 97, which I think we're pretty happy with. Yeah, and he drew out nicely at the end. He's obviously playing a pretty dangerous game there, though, when you look at what he's coming in on. I raised him. He calls through, and he's got an ace 7-8. Now he draws a 2 queen after that, and continues to call my betting. And he raises me when he's on a queen and a head. So it actually wasn't a horrible hand. This is one we're probably continuing with the ace deuce back. We could just sort of ignore the queen. We're probably continuing in this hand. Obviously not going super crazy with it, but yeah, we don't need to continue any farther once we draw the jack there. If we're drawing lower than that, we're gonna keep playing. We definitely need to raise that 5 there. Not hugely surprised that Wong called. We're just drawing like crap. I mean, a couple of hands ago here, we got the second strongest starting hand in Razz, and we get Delta King for 4th Street. You know. We're definitely getting involved here. I could have raised, but I'm pretty sure that Allmalt's gonna complete here to 100, and he would have raised to 200, and I don't necessarily want to bloat the pot that much until I see further draws with the way that we've been drawing out. So I'm pretty happy to call back here, see the next card. Even with the paired 6, I'm going to go one more street at least. We're definitely continuing here. We're definitely continuing here. We're definitely happy to be in this spot. Nice to see somebody else drawing out as poorly as we've been drawing out in the previous few hands. I shouldn't wish ill on the other players, but it bites when you're always, when you're starting with a 4 deuce ace and you draw a king as your next card. That pretty much sums up the way my night's been going. Steve O'Pick's vaulted in front of us. He is now sitting 10th with 2,400. Well, no, he hasn't actually vaulted in front of us. We've stumbled behind him. He's actually got 5 more chips than he had the last time I looked at this, I think. And we've got far less than we had the last time I looked at this. So, alrighty, looks like the tournament is down to 16 players now. So it's down to 2 tables. And Steve O'Pick is still on the other table. That's interesting. As far as I know, Steve O'Pick is the only one playing and watching the stream at the same time. I may not be right about that, but I think that's the case. He is on the other table at the moment, however. It's nice to get a few chips back from Allmalt up there. He's taken a good chunk of our stack, of our nice stack that we had. We're not in horrible shape at the moment, though. We're still doing okay. Steve-O's jumped up to 9th now. Added a couple hundred chips to his stack, sitting at 26-10 now. Good going, Steve-O. Keep climbing. If it folds around to me, I'm almost certainly raising Sanho with the 8 to the 10 there. But otherwise, with the paired 4s behind, I don't really need to get involved here, I don't think. Especially not against the 2. Deuce 4-6, pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with that situation. I think we're just gonna call the bring in and call the completions that will inevitably happen. Now, if there are any raises, I might have to reconsider that, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It looks like we're going to be able to complete the betting with a call to the completion. Wow, our draws have just been horrendous tonight. Really? I mean, the fact that we're even still in the tournament is remarkable. I think I got to get out of this. Not so much for Almalt's King, but for the 7-5 on Sever. If I'm counting my cards right, I would have got the 8 there, which doesn't do me a ton of good against his hand. King, Queen, 10, we don't need to be playing that. Pair of jacks, we don't need to get involved. Rimmer should bet here, yep. Think I'd bet if I was Rimmer. I have a feeling Wong paired is 4 as well. I just want to look at what Wong didn't show down there. Yep, paired is 4, along with pairing the 3. So that's what the hesitation on that 5th Street was. Don't need to get involved there. $16 left now. We're still sitting on 2 tables. Still 16. Low stack is Lee the River with 445. Big stack is Sanho, who is to our left with 7025. On the lobby, 7010 in this hand. we're going to raise this deuce. Yeah, rolled up sixes. Nice one, Steve-O. You never see that when you're playing stud high, eh? Nice. Got the two aces to fold out. That's that like insta fold. They had the fold buttons clicked. So obviously he hasn't gone great for us, but we're going to see at least one more street. Bah. Our draws are just horrible tonight. Just absolutely atrocious. Oh, wow. Steve-O's up to ninth place now. 35, 70, 37, 20. He is just raking in the chips. Nice one. Keep building that stack, buddy. I'll try to see you at the final table. I don't think we need to get involved there with the queen. The 4-8 isn't horrible, but it's going to cost us too much. I'm pretty sure Wong's going to be betting most streets that don't look horrible for him. So we're going to be having to put too much in to draw out our hand there. Yeah, I don't think Wong could call there. Whatever he's playing, Sever was drawn to a way better hand by the look of things. It's looking pretty dire for me right now, stack-wise. 13th to 16, so there's people below me, but I really do need to get my stack in with a solid hand that I can draw out and win on. Because yeah, with what I have now, I'm in pretty tough shape. This is not that sort of hand, however. This is the hand I don't even want to play past the first betting round. Bring in and fold. That's what that hand is worth. Bring in and fold. King, queen, 5. We get rid of this one as well. Not really getting many hands that we can play with here. We definitely need to get our chips in pretty quick. There's obviously 3 people below us that need to act as well, but it doesn't really do us any good if they act first and go out, because we're still 13th of 13 then. And we're still nowhere near the cash. So Definitely need to build chips up at this point. Just need to find a hand that I can put some money in off the bat and try to get some money out. His hesitation makes me think that he wasn't terribly strong behind his 5 there, but I wasn't terribly strong behind my queen, so I can't really, whether I'm right or not is irrelevant to whether I can do anything about it. And there wasn't much hesitation there, but it's, I mean, that really should be an insta raise. So any hesitation there makes me think that he's got some questionable cards behind. Now, it obviously could be that he's playing another table and took him a second to get over there and click the button, but it's, that's usually the sort of spot where you're gonna be raising pretty quickly and pretty much all the time when it falls to you. If you're wondering what the weird scratchy noises are, I just had to scratch my ear and my head for a second underneath the headphones, so probably got a little bit of weird noises through the stream on that. I apologize for that. If not for that buried queen, that's probably a hand I should have gone with at the deuce 3, but I sort of had a feeling that Sever was pretty strong behind his deuce. King, king 5, that's pretty crappy. We could obviously try to snow the table with our 5. That's going to be less likely to work now that Rimmer's come in with his ace there. But obviously the king back is not going to be very good if we have to go into later streets. In that situation, we sort of have to count on having a showing board that's strong enough that we can expect to bet people off of most hands that they're going to have. So you're really asking a lot of the draws. New chip leader up top, Borsi AU from Australia has just overtaken Sanho 21. Borsi AU has got 69.40, and Sanho 21's got 66.10 with Zuberbula in third place. Sanho and Zuberbula are both from Russia. Zuber has 65.45 in chips. All Malta's coming up close in fourth with 61.85. So those are our current caching positions. Nine was a 7 or even maybe an 8. I'd be definitely considering going over here instead of going over here. But I think with the 9, I'm going to go over here and see if I can get a stronger position. Always 2 playable cards and 1 piece of crap. Down under the 1,000 chip mark now. That's a very dangerous place to be, obviously. Down to 15 in the tournament now. Rakajunas from Finland, busted in 16th. Lee the River in 15th has got under 100 chips, so he's going to be all in and out very quickly. Unless he wins a pot here. Toot sweet. None of that, however, changes the fact that I only have 955 chips, or 875 if you're actually looking at the live table instead of the lobby. Which is tying me 14th with Evac, unless he's lost some chips this time around, which I'm sure he has with the ante, but not very many, I don't think. And I would have as well with the ante, so if he didn't have to bring in, then we're probably tied. Oh no, he's 10 ahead. No, he's 10 behind. 875 to 865. Alrighty, this is our hand. We've been waiting for this hand. This is the hand that we're going with. We're obviously drawing into the nuts here. Deuce 1 gives us the nuts. There is absolutely no reason why we are not wanting to put as many chips into this pot as we can possibly put into this pot. In fact, we're hoping that Rimmer decides he wants to re-raise us right now and put us all in right now. We rather he would done that, but we've drawn out lovely. He's almost certainly going to continue with us as well. So, yeah, and I mean, we're definitely putting all our chips in here. Wow. 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 What a draw out. What a way to draw. It was like matching cards right down to the end. And then he hits the ace to cap it off. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Well, it was fun. It was fun to play the Sunday Razz. That's the way Razz is going to go sometimes. I think we got our money in good. If I'm remembering correctly, we got our money in 3-4-5 against 4-5-6, which is a darn tootin' good place to be in Razz. Let me have a quick look at this. Yes, we got our money in with 3-4-5, and he was playing back at us with 5-6-7. So we got our money in super good. On 4th Street, it was 4-5-6-7 for Rimmer versus 2-3-4-5 for us. So again, we can't really fault. I mean, on 6th we draw an 8, or on 5th we draw an 8, he draws an 8. On 6th we draw a queen, he draws a queen. And on 7th, we draw king, he draws an ace. It really came down to 7th Street. We got our money in good. That's really all you can. It's really all you can ask, frankly, in this. And there are going to be times when you get your money in good, especially in Razz, and the draw just does not go your way. Um, so yeah, I'm fairly happy with the way the hand went. Fairly happy with the situation. Um, that was where I needed to put my money in, and yeah, I'm good with that. So anyway, Steve-O, hope the rest of your tournament goes better than mine. Um, I think what I might do is flip over to your table and do some commentary on your table for a bit. Just see what we're doing over there. Let me bring up your table. Alrighty, give me a minute here to play with my settings. So we are going to add. There we go. We got good old Captain Kirk down in the bottom left there. Sitting with 20 of 45 in chips. Double Freak, I'm sure I've seen before as well. And I'm thinking, seen as a good Razz player. So I think he's somebody to watch out for. Current chips are Sanho in first with 10,345, All Malt in second with 8,345, Zuberbula in third with 64.95, Borsi AU in fourth, 6,020 chips. Steve-O Pick, our feature stream fan, is currently sitting in 10th with 2,045 chips, which is well above the 11th place Evac, who's sitting with 605, or rather Evac, I guess, with the way it's spelled. So I also said before, I'm pretty sure Catch is, and now that I see the dog picture, I'm pretty sure Catch is somebody that, I'm positive I've played Catch it before. So. Coming up on the break now, next break in 1 minute. There are 11 people left in this 22-person tournament. I have busted, so we are watching our Anything But Hold'em fan as Steve Opick finish out the tournament. Yeah, gotta think that Borsi's going to get out of that pretty quick. Steve with the bring in again. Damn, man, I see what you mean. I think just since I've been watching, you've had to bring in 2 or 3 times. That's unlucky, man. Alrighty, we got the break starting. I'm going to click off Mike and go get myself something to drink, and I will be back. We're back here on Anything But Hold'em, playing the Sunday Razz, $1.10 Razz tournament. We are, I busted a few minutes ago, but we're still railing our Anything But Hold'em fan, Steve-O Pick, good buddy of mine who plays in the Poker School Online home games with me all the time, and we chat, and very good friend of mine, so it's cool to have him here. He is the Captain Kirk icon. I always said Captain Kirk was the perfect icon for the poker player because nobody in the world has sucked out on the river more times than Captain Kirk in the original Star Trek episodes, folks. Um, he didn't win any situation without sucking out on the river. Basically, that was how he sorted everything out. Um, so yeah, I think he's an ideal poker icon. Still a minute left in the break. Resume within 1 minute. Need to lose another 3 people before we're at the final table. thinking that the small stacks are going to be needing to act here pretty quick. That includes Steve. Um, he's going to need to move his chips pretty quick, I think. Although he's not in a spot where he has to move immediately. But I think it's obviously as the second smallest stack, um, with only a very, very, very tiny one behind. I think he probably knows he needs to start thinking about getting a stack in. Five might be the hand to do it, depending what happens with the five and the ace in front of him. I think this would be the hand that you want to put some chips in with, frankly. Yep, good move there, Steve. I'm sure about that. Hopefully the draw comes out well for you. So I definitely, keep betting for sure on this. I think you definitely want to keep putting money in. And again, you're obviously you can't put enough chips fast enough into this pot, frankly, when he draws his third eight there. You can never even think about checking there to try to get him to induce him to bet, because he's never betting there ever. He's always checking back. So you really need to keep putting the pressure on. So that was a good hand. That was very, very well played, I think, Steve-O. Good job, man. This is turning into a battle of the weaklings. We got pairs, we got queen highs, we got jack highs, we got pairs of queens. We got all sorts of crap going on in this hand. Looks like Leober could be drawn into a decent hand with the 75 over here, drawn into. The 81 can be drawn into a decent hand over there, but the sort of 9-7 and the queen sixes are pretty much out of contention at this point, I'm thinking. Well, now Leober's obviously getting the jack there doesn't help his draw, and everybody knows it. The 6 definitely, or potentially, looks like it could help catch us, so the complexion is changing. Double Freak's still drawing into anything that he might have. I know where I know Double Freak from. Cash Razz tables. That's where I've played him before. I've been staring at this name for ages, trying to figure out where I know him from. Cash Razz tables. That's where I know him from. So it's interesting. It looks like Catch has probably got the strongest hand here. Yeah, a lot of the time. It's a pretty sucky draw for Double Freak for sure. 3 could be another place where Steve-O wants to start looking to build a stack, I think. I think I'm definitely putting chips in. Well, I mean, obviously I don't know what he had behind, but it's definitely one where I'm thinking to put chips in. Lieber is definitely looking strong here. I think Double Freak's definitely got some strength happening though too. Obviously, I mean, we're potentially looking at a 5 for Lieber, and I think potentially a 6 right now for Double Freak. Or sorry, 7 right now. 6 right now for Double Freak. With the paired deuce, so probably playing a 76. It's a good fold by him. That's showing the paired deuce there. I don't know that showing the paired deuce was such a good informational move, but it was definitely a good fold for him there, because he's clearly behind and not I mean, he's drawing to a 6 at best, I think, at that point. So Yeah, he's. I think he's. I think he's probably made a pretty solid fold there. If Lieber folds, well, I would certainly have raised that. Obviously, Steve-O, if Lieber folds to you, you have to be raising those all the time. I think it's a fine fold, depending what you had behind when he comes in front of you. But so right now, if you've just joined us, we're doing no hole cards commentary of anything but Hold'em fan Steve-O picks Razz tournament. I busted this 20 minutes ago or so now, and decided instead of ending the stream, since Steve-O was watching and playing, we'd pop over and rail him and see how deep he can go in this one. Currently still 10 people left. Steve-O is sitting at the bottom of the stack as far as chip stacks are concerned, but he's still got chips and he's still in the pot. Depending on what happens here with Double Freak, he may end up being, it doesn't look like it's going to be the case that Double Freak is going to lose a bunch of chips here, but that certainly could be the case if things go badly for them. But it looks like Zuber's getting the worst of this deal. Almost certainly. Because, yeah, I can't see at this point. Double Freak is betting and betting value. Seriously betting value at this point. Zuber couldn't have been playing a better hand than double, and he might have been drawing into a better hand, but even that seemed pretty unlikely given what I was seeing on the card patterns. Yeah, absolutely. Kirk sucking out on the river. That's there's just no other way to describe how he wins battles. I'll have to see if I can convince Stars to put together a Fizzbin format for our anything but Hold'em weekly challenge one week. Alrighty, this is a good looking hand for Steve-O. 87 versus 86 at this point. So yeah, put your money in. I think you're definitely wanting to do that at this point. The 10's not great, but if you're already made with the 86, which I think you probably are, yep. Nice one, dude. Nice pickup. Nice pickup. And boom! Steve-O goes from 10th to 3rd. That's the way you play Razz, folks. Get low cards, bet them hard. Don't get low cards, fold them. That is the way you play Razz. I'm obviously simplifying that a bit, but the truth is, with Razz, more than any other kind of poker, if you play it as straightforwardly as put as many chips as you can in with very low cards and fold cards that aren't very low, you're going to go pretty far in your Razz tournament strategy. That is 98%, I think, of that is like 98% of Razz, whereas it's probably 90% of other games, potentially. But yeah, it definitely, there are creative things you can do, but generally speaking, if you put your money in with low cards and don't put your money in with high cards, you're going to do pretty well on the Razz tables. I like the raise by Steve-O here, putting pressure on Liuber now. I like the raise there. The drawing obviously hasn't gone great, but it hasn't gone great for either person at the moment. So I don't really think anybody's going to be really thrilled about this pot. I was pretty unlucky on the draw there for Steve, but I mean, really, you got out of that. You know, you lost the minimum pretty much there, right? It's a 840 chip pot. There's not really, you certainly didn't get decimated with that hand. So good job. Yeah, I know what you mean about the short stack. It's one of the things that I think is one of the highlights of my game, especially from playing PSO, um, Premier League and stuff. Knowing how to manage your short stacks is vital over there. So, and there's lots of people over there that think of me as the king of coming back from a four big blind stack to final table the thing. So with 10 people left, we're still waiting for two people to bust before we get to the final table. Um, there are some reasonably short stacks. Zuberbula being the shortest at 1375, and Katya, 08 underscore Katya, being ninth with 1845 as second lowest. So they're going to have to do something here pretty quick. And we're going to have to get to a final table at some point reasonably quickly, I think, because things are going to have to move. It's actually almost harder, I think, playing a stack size like Stevo has now than playing the really small ones. Because the really small ones, your decisions are very limited, right? I mean, do I have a strong hand? Yes. Okay, I'm putting money in. Do I not have a strong hand? No. Okay, I'm folding. That's your decision point with a small stack, basically. Stevo's now in the position now where he really has to think more about the decisions that he's making relative to the stack size, and it makes it a more complicated game. I think it's much easier to get into situations that are trickier and harder to decide on, I think. So in many ways, it's easier to play the stacks like Double Freak and Zuber have. Still pretty even though. I mean, we're at a point where one hand can really make a huge difference in the total chip stack. I mean, we saw that one hand that Stevo pulled in there that vaulted him from 10th to 3rd, right? So, and that's the sort of thing that's happening. If Zuber if Zuber Bula doubles up now um, with blinds and bring-ins and stuff, that's gonna give him something like 4,300 chips, which is gonna put them up in the area of Borsey in 7th. So, I mean, that's a pretty big jump there. Certainly, Double Freak can be up among the chip leaders easily with a single hand, I think. And if Zuber gets into a three or a four-handed pot with all his chips as well, I mean, all bets are off then. He could be chip leader in one hand. Katya's clawed a few chips back. She's up over 2,000 now with 26.85. Still in ninth place though, behind Double Freak in eighth with 35.25. Borsey is in seventh. Borsey underscore AU in seventh with 4,090. Our man Steve O'Pick is in sixth place with 54.75. First Ace Rimmer in fifth with 56.55. And in money position right now, Liuber in fourth with 63.35. Sanho in third with 79.05. Wong in second with 84.80. And way up top is Allmalt with over 9,000 chips and 9055. So it looks like most of the chips are over on that other table with Wong and Allmalt and Sanho all topping the stacks over here. Libur is our big stack at this table, and he's fourth in chips. So all the chips are over on the other table at the moment. Supervula looks to be taking this one down, I would think. You got to think Liuber is pretty strong back there to be continuing here. And likewise with Borsey. I mean, this seems really bizarre, this sort of action here. I mean, Zuber seems clearly the best hand at the moment, without any question. So, right, so that leaves 9 left. Lieber's just vaulted himself up to 7th place with 32.75. Stevo is in 5th. Still, Katya is now our low stack with 24.15. And we are on the final table bubble. One more bust out, and it is a final table time. Stevo getting the bring in with the jack. That's pretty obviously going to get folded to the 3 and the 6. Lieber looks to be taking this pot down. Doesn't matter what cards Double Freak is playing behind the 3. He's raising that 100% of the time when it falls to him there. Now, of course, he might be a little bit more cautious that he's seen that. But at this point, he can't even have a hand with the double pair showing. So yeah, he's getting out. He's always wanting to raise that. That one just didn't turn out so well. Wow, this is a plethora of face cards for a Razz tournament. You don't see that a lot. Yeah, you got to raise that, Steve-O. Good job, man. Good job. You got to raise that. You got to raise the jack there, buddy. Good job. Looks like Liuber's clawing some chips back. To 45.55 now. And like I said, I mean, Zuberbulu was our low stack a while back, up at second place now with 82.15 after that big hand. Yeah, absolutely, Steve. The paying attention to what is being folded out before, on when there's only 3 cards out pre-bring in is vital to this game, to knowing whether you've got dead cards to your flushes or dead cards to your straights, or no chance to pair your ace or whatever. Um, Obviously in this game it's different considerations. If there's If you're seeing 3 2s on the board and you need to draw to a 2 to hit your hand, well, you're probably not gonna get your